single day. And as a developer, I I became a developer because I got tired of, or I got frustrated with the communication between development team and me. As a buyer of their services was going to be, of course, to develop the software for me. But then, because I have a tech background, I was on the engineering side of the server, meaning the physical machine. I built in data centers and all that stuff. And so I knew what I should be getting and what I should be looking for. And when they sent me a bill, and the bill was 12 hours for something I knew shouldn't have taken no more, at the max 3. Okay. So they were padding their bill. That spurred me to learn PHP and to learn how to write code and to learn how to develop software. And then one of the things that's paramount for me when I'm dealing with clients is to always be transparent and to always over communicate. Because under communication is one of those major things that really goes to not setting proper expectations when building software. Because software takes longer to build than most people realize. I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and how her boss, I had taught her how to do the layout-based forms in the program. And layout-based forms can take time. I mean, they do take time to generate, especially when you have a complicated form. And she was telling me how her boss, and we generally sometimes turn it over to clients because somebody's going to get that feeling that we have when somebody expects us to, they hand us a form and expect it done in a day. And that's not always possible. It depends on how complicated that form is. When I say complicated, how many boxes and questions and the different types of questions all go into that. She said her boss gave it to her, and she thought she was going to be able to get it done in 2 days. And she's like, no, it would take 2 weeks at a minimum. All right, so with that said, I'm going back to that communication thing. Because if you tell people, I always tell people, I liken it to coding is not like writing a term paper, okay? Because if coding was like writing a term paper, guess what? There would be a lot more people than the ones who are doing it, okay? And when you coding something and you're deciding how to do something, the frameworks and the amount of knowledge that comes into play of knowing what technologies to use, when to use them, and then also when to push back on clients. Because there are times, like I just finished an email now, where I had to push back on a client of doing something because it sounded good to him, but in my experience, what he was thinking was going to be good wasn't going to be good for everybody else, because generally people code or come up with ideas based on their personal preferences. And then those personal preferences, they push them out to other people. I'll never forget my very first project where I had a doctor, he wanted a CMS note built. And his CMS note was going to encompass everything the CMS would want in a note. And he thought everybody's going to want this note when I got finished with it. And sad to say, nobody wanted it. He wanted it. It was great for him, but for other cardiologists, not so great, because they have different idea on what a perfect CMS note was. Okay, so but I've run into that over and over, how that people will have ideas and then managing those expectations of what's possible with what isn't, and then what is good and what is not good. So there's a lot of communication that needs to go on, and then people need to listen. Okay, granted, there are those developers out there who don't know any better and just will try to do everything a client tells them to do, which isn't always possible. Okay, so some things need, that's where you have your developers and your designers and those people who have experience in software development and what can be, and then how to make what is possible and plausible. And man, I'm running out of adjectives there. But the end result of this is to be communicate, communicate, communicate. Because when a team doesn't communicate and they just build what they think the customer wants and then presents it to them and it's really not what they want, that's why I always try to get clients to sign off on small steps, small steps, small steps. Because that way, when we get to the end, we're already done all the approval. Everybody's been on board every step of the way. And these small steps save a lot of time and headache and money being wasted on redos and rebuilds because they didn't nail it the first time. Nobody nails it the first time, okay? And I can go on and on. I've been talking for 5 minutes now. But the thing is, communicate, 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 set proper expectations on both sides for the developer and the client so that when we get to the end of the road, we get there together. Talk to you later. Bye.